Hi, class. So I wanted to kind of go a little further in depth on organizational culture and leadership in this particular module. So in this PowerPoint, I'm just going to go through kind of explaining what organizational culture is and how it's connected to leadership. Um, so if you have any questions after you view this PowerPoint video, just shoot me an email via inbox, and I'm happy to answer it. So the general outline of the presentation is we're going to talk about organizational culture and leadership, elements of organizational culture and ethics, organizational culture and accountability, and the scary topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I just want to provide just like a quick definition for organizational culture and for leadership. So organizational culture is just a set of shared assumptions that a group develops over time to kind of help navigate internal and external challenges that the organization might face. And so leadership is the ability to use influence to inspire and motivate others towards achieving shared goals and objectives. So, how are organizational culture and leadership connected? They're connected through vision and values, leader behaviors, decision making, and change management. So let's talk about some connection points. Again, remember, organizational culture is a set of shared values, beliefs, and practices that impact how an organization operates, and that leaders shape and reinforce culture through their actions, their policies, and their communication. So, some connection points include vision and values alignment. So, leaders communicate and embody the organization's mission, which fosters alignment with organizational culture. It connects through influencing behaviors. So leaders set examples through their behavior, encouraging norms that reinforce the desired culture for the organization. They're connected through strategic decision making. So leaders make decisions that reflect and reinforce cultural values, which can impact employees' morale and commitment. They're connected through adaptability and change management. So leaders facilitate cultural shifts in response to internal and external changes, helping the organization stay relevant, stay viable. So let's talk about Shine's element of organizational culture. I tend to be an adherent of Shine's theory of organizational culture. So there are artifacts, and these are the visible, tangible aspects of the organization, such as its structures, its processes, and its symbols. They include office layout, your dress code, any kind of rituals or formal policies which reflect and reinforce the organization's values. And then you have espoused beliefs and values. And these are the organization's stated principles, their goals, and their strategies. And this guides behavior and decision making. And these can include things like mission statements, your core values, and the guiding principles that are promoted within the organization. And then you have underlying assumptions. And so these are kind of like these deeply ingrained beliefs that are often unconscious yet shape perceptions, thoughts, and feelings within the organization. These assumptions are taken for granted and influence how employees interact and approach their work, shaping the culture at its most fundamental level. I like to consider this when I first started in government and I questioned some of the way something was done, and I was told this is the way we do stuff around here. And so that's that underlying those underlying assumptions about how we approach our work. So let's talk about organizational culture and ethics. So the foundation for ethical behavior, uh, organizational culture is fundamental in shaping ethical behavior, because it establishes the norms, the values, and the expectations that guide decision making and action. And leaders play a pivotal role in embedding ethics into the culture by setting standards and modeling ethical behavior. Or maybe they don't. they model unethical behavior, which certainly can be an issue and impact organizational culture negatively. Uh, it there's also an influence on employee conduct. A strong ethical culture encourages employees to uphold integrity and accountability, and it creates trust and a trustworthy environment. Now, a weak or a misaligned culture can lead to ethical lapses, impacting the organization's reputation and internal morale. I've seen this happen in a couple of times that I experienced when I worked for an agency that there were serious ethical lapses. One involved a high level leader within the organization taking bribes, and those bribes, unfortunately, were from a nursing home owner and involved this this leader, high level leader, knew when or could know when inspectors were due to visit the nursing home, and so he would give the nursing home owner a heads up, and they would address serious issues in the nursing home prior to the inspector arriving, and then things went right back to normal after they were gone. And unfortunately, this resulted in deaths, and it certainly negatively impacted the organization's reputation, and it killed employee morale because we were held accountable as well as that leader in the public's eye. Finally, let's talk about ethics as a shared responsibility. So, in ethical organizations, all members, regardless of their role, are encouraged to act in alignment with core values, ensuring that ethical considerations are integrated into everyday actions. So, this kind of goes back to what I was talking about just previously. All members, regardless of their role, are encouraged to act in alignment with values. And when a public health official takes bribes from a nursing home owner, that really doesn't align with the core values of a large public health agency. Shared ethical principles also foster a sense of responsibility, and they encourage open dialogue on ethical challenges and dilemmas. So let's dig a little deeper into ethical considerations about important things that are really important to public organizations. And if you're like I am a member of the American Society for Public Administration, or ASPA. And so, as a part of being a member, I adhere professionally to the ASPA Code of Ethics, which are also often touch on these very important principles of like integrity and putting the public's interest over self-interest, things like that. So let's talk a little bit about integrity and transparency. So a culture of integrity fosters honesty and openness in communication, decision making, and reporting. And transparency builds trust with stakeholders and within the organization as it encourages openness about successes, failures, and challenges. I'm sure you're aware that trust in government has declined for decades. And so being more transparent, more in demonstrating accountability and integrity will hopefully help us improve that declining trust in government. So let's talk a little bit about accountability. So, accountability ensures that individuals and teams take responsibility for their actions and the outcomes of their actions. In an ethical culture, leaders and employees are held to the same standards with clear expectations and fair consequences for unethical behavior. Have you ever experienced when a leader didn't hold themselves to the same standards that they held employees, like adhering to lunch hours or standard work hours? They didn't hold themselves to the same set of standards they rigidly held others to. How do you think that makes employees feel? Or how do you think the public perceives those types of leaders? Now let's talk about respect and fair treatment. So, a respectful culture promotes fair, equal treatment for all, with policies that prevent discrimination and prioritize diversity and inclusion. And I'm going to be clear with you here that the research absolutely supports the importance of a diverse workforce. Diverse workforce are more flexible. They make better decisions. They connect better with communities that they serve. So let's talk a little bit about organizational culture and accountability. So leadership is not about being an. I'm sorry, I'm reading this Simon Sinek quote. Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge, and accountability is a backbone of that responsibility. How does an organization's culture impact accountability? So let's talk about these connection points between culture and accountability. Shared values is one way. Cultures that prioritize integrity and responsibility promote accountability at all levels. Another connection point is performance standards, having clear expectations and feedback mechanisms that encourage accountability for all outcomes. Transparency and openness. A culture of openness enables honest reporting, self reflection. It's essential for accountability. What is a leader's role in fostering accountability? Modeling appropriate behavior. Leaders who hold themselves accountable encourage similar behavior in their employees. When you model ethical behavior, that becomes the example that you provide for your employees. They also have systems of feedback through regular reviews and transparent evaluations that helps maintain accountability within teams. Um, through consequences and recognition. Cultures with clear consequences for misconduct and recognition for positive contributions maintain higher accountability. You notice my focus on transparency and accountability throughout this presentation. So let's talk a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just boxes to check. They are the heart of an organization's culture, shaping an environment where every individual feels valued, heard, and empowered to contribute their best. That's from Verna Myers. So, I know this topic has come under attack recently, but the evidence is strong supporting the importance of diversity and a focus on equity and giving everyone a voice and a seat at the table. So, why is it important? Because it broadens perspectives, it drives creativity and innovation. There's clear research that supports this. It promotes fairness. Equity ensures fair treatment and respect for all. But I want to go ahead and point out that equity and equality are different. Equity, especially a concept maybe like social equity, understands that people come from different places. And when we approach things equitably, we understand that and we meet people where they are at. And if we foster belonging, that makes everyone in the organization feel valued. So, implementing DEI may be a little difficult in many organizations for a while now. But you should focus on policy development and have DEI focused recruitment, promotion, and anti discrimination. Through cultural training, educate on bias and enhance cultural awareness. Through inclusive leadership, leaders should model and support DEI. How can we measure the impact? You could have surveys to gauge inclusivity and fairness. You could track representation, especially in leadership, because you might have a diverse workforce, but not a diverse leadership team. And then through retention engagement, high retention often shows DEI success. Again, this I know construct has come under attack recently, but there's plenty of evidence to support the importance of diverse teams for better decision making, for creativity and innovation, and that the importance of hearing understanding that everyone comes from different places and different experiences. And when we recognize that and we approach our work through that lens, that we improve our organizations overall and our performance. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation on organizational culture. Thanks for listening. I do appreciate your attention. If you have any questions, shoot me an email through the Canvas inbox. Thanks.